Okay. People want to be free, okay? You've got to learn how to be free, okay? They've deceived us in all the processes out here to try and get us to be a communist member, okay? I said this the other night, that basically the old saying, better dead than red, was referring to two different factions of communism. The dead communist and basically the red communist. And see, that's what they have out here, is basically they have us listed as being dead in their system and being a United States, all capitalized, citizen, as a communist citizen. Okay? Now, I had Tom post up a perpetuity bill of inequity. Well, people have to know what equity is all about. Okay? And in equity, you have to have a conversion of basically land into money. Silver and gold are land. Our assets are being held as silver or as gold. Okay?
Yep.
That's our birthing inheritance from the Republic that's being held there. And now it's being held in a perpetuity accounts because basically they came in and they declared you to be dead. But we have to come in, we have to revoke being a Communist Party member, because this is a membership corporation, and then we have to basically put our notice of claim in for our perpetuities. And then basically a perpetuity cannot be for a lifetime, okay? There was a limitation upon it. The churches and basically the banksters are the key ones that have instituted these perpetuities. At one time in England, they put a stop to that, okay, and basically, but they came back in under this communist regime with the Federal Reserve banking system under a new copyrighted system. Okay, copyrighted United States, a dead country. England, a copyrighted, bankers copyrighted, dead country. Australia, the same way, a copyrighted, dead country. A communist takeover, but it was by the black communists, the bankers. Also by the churches, because basically all ministers run around in black. I mean, it's real obvious once you start looking at this, how they perpetrated this whole process. And like I said, equity is basically a conversion from either money into land or land into money. And that's what basically is going on. So when you look at those definitions that I posted up here, had Tom post up just in the last day or so, you will see that. Now on the bills of, I also, on the bill of equity, I would modify that bill, and underneath hold up here, underneath the draw E or drawer, you would type in your name in all capitals as the account holder. you would put a signature line underneath that. So that basically you sign his sign for him. Then on the other side, you would put, for the drawee, like in my case, Mr. Patrick, Divine, account owner, and I would signature and seal that. Then we go on down to the bill in equity, and down there where I had the account owner signature down at the very bottom, change that out to just clerk of the court. They're going to have to sign that. We're going to submit in. What?
Where is that? I'm looking
down
at it right now.
Down at the very bottom, on the bill in equity.
Right. I see delivered to, and then on the right-hand side it says American Republic citizen.
Yeah, you would change that to clerk of court.
Okay.
Is going to have to sign there that they have completed that conversion.
Okay.
And then we will endorse it when they make delivery.
Okay.
And the bill will be endorsed upon delivery. So we don't sign down there. That's the clerk of the court's going to have to sign that one. Because we needed to get them to sign that they had made the conversion. Okay, does that make sense?
Yep.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. And then they should seal that too.
Patrick.
Yeah.
But whose address goes to the left where it says in care of?
Yeah, I take the care of off and just put your name, okay? Mr. Whatever, semicolon, last name, and then your address, and city and state, and then I would put Republic Post, and then put your zip code, and then your phone number.
Okay.
See, is what we want to let them know that we're in the Republic in this process. Now, if they do not comply, we have the option to file a bill of privilege against them. A bill of privilege is a special form of action employed at common law when suing an attorney, clerk, or other person attending a court of justice. This special form of procedure was deemed necessary because these persons were not liable to arrest by the ordinary process of the court. This also includes all deputy sheriffs that are operating under these fraudulent warrants. They're part of the court. If they've got a warrant, it's coming out of the court. So they're a person attending a court of justice. Now, you go into read the definition for privilege. A right peculiar to an individual or body. Okay? An advantage held by way of license, franchise, grant, or permission, not possessed by others. And see, that's what these clerks and these deputies and everything else, they're operating under a license, franchise, or whatever. Now, you go down and you read privileges and immunities. Synonymous terms in reference to the guarantee of the United States Constitution of citizens of the several states within the meaning of the guarantee under Article, let me see, what the hell is it? Article 4, Section 2 of the United States Constitution. The fundamental privileges and immunities belonging of right to citizens of all free governments. This government we have is not a free government. It's a communist government. And communist government is not free. It further goes on to read, which have at all times been enjoyed by citizens of the several states of the Union from the time of their becoming free. And that would have been when you turned 21. But you have to come in and do an expatriation or a disavowing of being a Communist Party member. That's what the expatriation's all about. Secret Service guys, they don't know this shit. So we never heard anybody expatriating. Well, that's because you don't know too much. Especially at the local level. So you can do a bill of privilege against anyone who basically in this communist court system that causes you harm, and you submit it in to the Superior Court. Now you're going to have to address most of these courts as in the Republic, because otherwise they're going to take it that you're coming in and you want this applied to the communist court system, because they operate on implied scenarios all over the place. So you have to break that implied presumption in the process that you're standing in the Republic, and that they either stand in the Republic or basically they're in violation. The Trading with the Enemy Act, okay, was against the state. That act was passed in 1917. It was a communist statute. Okay? That's how they got a lot of this stuff in, under these communist statutes, ever since the 14th Amendment.
And the 1917 is a particularly communist date because that's when the Red Revolution happened, too.
Well, yeah, a lot of things happened there. But they basically started out in 1871. That's right. When they really were starting to lay the groundwork for the communist takeover of the world.
In dribs and drabs.
Yeah, and see, that's when they started all the copywriting of these countries with a foreign banker's copyright system. Now, perpetual statute, okay, a perpetual statute, one that remains in force without limitation as to time, one which contains no provision for its repeal, abrogation, or expiration at any future time. The Bill of Rights, all of them are basically long-term statutes. They cannot be repealed. Quite a few others out there prior to like the Expatriation Act. Okay? It cannot be repealed. But they tried to under their revised statutes. But you have to look at how they did these revised statutes out here. And basically it was just by an act of Congress we did this. That's not an enactment clause. That's a deception. You can take this bill in equity and see we have to have a conversion in there. So we take out our land value, like in silver dollars, and have it converted into Federal Reserve dollars. And the ratio at the current exchange rate, it's either 18 or 28, I don't know what it is, but basically that's what needs to be converted. So say like you put in 10,000 silver dollars, it's going to be converted into, if it's at 18, it's going to be converted into 180,000 Federal Reserve dollars. So basically a car that cost $2,500 brand new back in the 60s, when basically the exchange rate was 1 for 1, essentially, or their close proximity, you would be paying in silver dollars. You would have bought that car for $2,500. Well, today you take out that $2,500 in silver and you multiply it times the conversion ratio, and basically you're going to find out that that car now is costing roughly about $50,000 or thereabouts in Federal Reserve dollars. So it's still the same value in silver, but you just don't see it. Now, there will be no need for any 1099-A, Bs, or Cs, or OIDs when we go through the Court of Equity and submit these things in. They can't tax us for doing a conversion. And that is one of the laws that's on the book out here, is that when they took all the states and said, hey, you can't print money, we're going to go to a one system for the nation. We will control the conversion factor out here of how much silver equals 1 ounce of gold, and vice versa. And the same thing for what a dollar is in the conversion of that for gold to silver. And see, at one time it was $1 of silver equaled $1. And basically, gold was roughly about 35 silver dollars in the process to equal $1 of gold. But they changed that and lifted the conversion rates on this, but we still have to go to the Republic side, which is still under statute. The Republic statutes that can't be changed to make the conversion. The bankers and the communist system, yeah, they can basically change their system as much as they want. And that's a means to control everybody, is to basically inflate their fictional money. But when we do the lawful conversion, see, right now, if it's at 18, that means that roughly one Federal Reserve dollar equals less, maybe about 7 cents of a dollar.
It's very close to 18. It's around 18.5.
Okay. And then also, and if you look at the definition of conversion, inequity, the transformation of one species of property into another, as money into land or land into money, or more particularly, a fiction of law by which equity assumes that such as a transformation has taken place, contrary to the fact when it is rendered necessary by the equities of the case. Now, see, a perpetuitary, such a limitation on property as rendered it unalienable beyond the period allowed by law. You have the right to lien that property after you come of age. But see, they put it in as it's now unalienable so that you could not touch it. And that went beyond the 21 years. Or past the lifetime of your deceased relative. You were supposed to be able to claim your inheritance upon their death. Now, I also have perpetuitary of the king. That fiction of the English law, which for certain political purposes ascribes to the king and his political capacity the attribute of immortality, for through the reigning monarch, though the reigning monarch may die, yet by this fiction of the king never dies. The office is supposed to be reoccupied for all political purposes immediately upon his death. Now you take out the king out of that and you replace it with chief of the tribe here in America. The new chief of the tribe was supposed to take over and reoccupy the seat of chief for the tribe. And that seat of chief is supposed to go to the oldest son of the chief. The firstborn son. And see, over in England, they don't even realize it, that Queen Elizabeth is holding that position in violation of the law. Prince Philip, I think, was the oldest son, and he's supposed to be the king of England right now. But see, they can't even follow their own damn laws. especially in the communist system. They write their own laws for themselves. And basically that's a violation of one of those Nemo statements. No one can write laws for themselves. One of the other items there is a bill. Where is it? Bill being rendered. Okay.
Oh.
A statement of account. You can take that form and you remove the drawee and you just leave the owner. Okay. You remove the drawer and you change drawee to owner, and then you have your name and you put a signature underneath that. Then you submit that as a perpetuitary bill rendered into the court for your account, for your perpetuitary account, equity account, to have a balance value given to you. It's like going to the bank. And see, these courts of equity are nothing more than like Ford Motor Company. You go out and you put a bill into the dealership that you want this automobile. So you're really billing the manufacturer to make that car for you. So Ford Motor Company has to go out and issue the orders out to obtain the parts to put the automobile together. That's the same thing that the court does. The court is nothing more than a manufacturer of justice. We present them the bill, they turn around and take that, and now they put the orders out to fulfill the bill. See, this is a court of equity. This isn't a court of justice. But it's in the court of equity, it's a court of just exchangements. And see, that's why they put the blindfold on Lady Justice out here, is because all these communist courts and everything, they do not see just exchangement. You go in and pay out of your back pocket your labor value, which should be in lawful currency, okay, in silver. That's what a man is supposed to be paid. His wages are supposed to be paid in silver in this country, value-wise, okay? It doesn't necessarily have to mean silver, but like right now, if you're making $5, comparatively speaking, you're no better off than that Chinese citizen over in China making less than $0.25 an hour. Same scenario. But see, people don't look at the conversion ratio in the process here. Now, you can take this bill of equity that I have and modify it. You go down and you put in on the Federal Reserve dollar line, you put the court value that needs to be paid out in Federal Reserve dollars. Say, like if you got a traffic ticket, okay, and it's $150, so you put 150 Federal Reserve dollars there. you leave the conversion perpetuitary silver dollar value blank. You do not know what the conversion factor is because they've got 3 days to make this process. So it should be one of the 3 days that they put down the conversion rate of what 1 PSD equals how many FDRs. And see, it'd be probably less than 1 or maybe 2 or 3 silver dollars that you're paying for that traffic ticket. Now, if you want to buy a car, and see, you would go down there and deliver that in a check to the clerk of the court. So you would take your name out, the delivery address, and put it to the clerk of the court. To deliver that to the clerk of the court. Now, you want to buy a vehicle, you would turn around and you would put down the dealership down there, deliver, check to the dealership for this amount of Federal Reserve dollars. You do not know how many, what the conversion ratio is going to be for the PSDs, the silver dollars, so you leave those 2 blank. The clerk of the court is going to have to make the conversion. You would turn around and send this then into the United States District Court, clerk of the court, to be processed through the Court of Equity as a conversion. And in front of the perpetuity account, you could either put DD-214 or COLB, Certificate of Live Birth, perpetuity account number.
Or selective service, if I don't have a DD-214.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then also you can turn around and make one of these up and send it to the Vicar General for the Church of Rome. Because they're holding a perpetuitary account if you got baptized. Under your baptismal name. There may not be an account number on that. But you will be under like a DD-214 or a 214N. At least that's what the Roman Catholic Church has, is a 214N form. And see, when you went to confession and confessed your sin, you were supposed to be confessing your debts. And the church was supposed to be setting those debts off for you from your perpetuitary account. So you can always use that account too and have them, but see, you have to address this, that this is a perpetuity account, a baptismal account. Because basically in baptism, they declared you dead. And then basically they gave you a resurrection over as the living, but they took everything away from you from the dead side. They're holding all your assets in the dead world. See, that's the name of the game that they did. They got us to basically claim or be dead on one side, and we haven't woken up that, hey, I ain't dead. I'm taking my toys and I'm going to play in my living sandbox. Then when you do this, you don't need any 1099A, B's, C's, D's, or OIDs, especially the OID. And you don't need your Social Security number either. I thought we might need to have it and mark that Social Security account as other, but we don't need it. Because we've got the court to do our conversion for us. In the Republic. So you basically are going to renounce all EINs, the Social Security, all UCCs, and basically shut down these perpetuity accounts and have the assets transferred over to you in lawful silver dollars or gold dollar value. Then you can basically access that account, those bonds, those gold-backed bonds or whatever, silver-backed, whatever, and get the conversion, but you'll still go through the court to do this if you have your account set up with the Treasury or whatever in the tribal outlying insular territory. Under that special trustee that we were talking about. So basically that's pretty much just about it. I just wanted to try and go over this and get it across to you people that basically the court is nothing but a manufacturer to convert the land or the money, to convert the land into money or to convert the money into land. You could go back the other way and convert your Federal Reserve dollars back into silver dollars and put them on deposit. But gold and silver are nothing but land. Nothing more, nothing less. And then basically this other stuff is basically what is the currency that is being utilized out here. But when we get the proper conversion, we're sitting where we want. See, if you stay in their system, the only amount that you can possibly get back, like if the conversion ratio is 18-1, you're paying one Federal Reserve dollar out there. So you're only getting 1/18 of its value. Now, when you do a 1099 OID, you're only getting 1/18 of the value back again. So now you've got 2/18, or you've got 1/9 the value of what you really should be having. See, this whole thing about the banking was set up on the rule of 10. That's the communist system. They were going to take 10% tiding from you. But in the process of what they have right now, they're taking 90% and leaving you maybe with 1/20th or 1/10 of the value, if you know what you're doing to get the other 1/20th back. All mortgages, everything that's basically, all these people are having problems. If these local courts will not comply and you do not accept anything, you basically object to them because they're operating under implied. And basically silence is an implied acceptance in their book. So you object to everything, and basically you make the statement, I do not condone. And in America, you are the only one that can pardon yourself. Look up the definition of pardon. I think I had that posted before. Forgiveness.
300 words.
Yes. So, when you start understanding all those 300 words, and then these latest words that I've had Tom post up there, now you should start seeing and start breaking the system down to where we can now come in and take control over them. They're the ones that are the enemy to the Republic. But we're an enemy to their state corporation. See, that enemy of the state, basically, act is for their corporate communist state. And they made us, as the living, the enemy to their dead world. But they are the real enemies to the Republic. And we have a right of self-defense in this regard. But don't go out there and utilize that, because right now they have more guns. You've got to do it appropriately and try and get it through the process of the Republic courts out here. But you have to come in and break the presumption and put it into the Republic court, breaking the presumption that everything is going to be submitted into the communist court system. And see, the communist court system is against the people owning anything, against the freedoms of the people, because they can only deal with the dead. That's why Alice in Wonderland and Wizard of Oz and
Queen of
all
Karina,
of these other movies were out there, was trying to tell you about the nightmare. The Walking Dead, the vampire movies, they're all telling you the same thing, that basically the Wizard of Oz and Alice in Wonderland and you name it, we're all trying to get across to the people. Okay, I've rambled enough on this. I think if you listen to this a couple times over, you'll get the understanding about utilizing these. We were close on the bill of exchange, but it's not a bill of exchange. It's a bill in equity that we have to do. Okay? We have to get the conversion. And see, a bill of exchange was not a conversion system.
But these new definitions really tie it together, Patrick.
Hopefully they do.
It makes the 300 definitions it really just hook them together much better. Thank you.
Yeah. And see, one of the key things here is under that perpetuity of the king. Okay? Now, when you put chief of the tribe in there, where in the hell does executor come into play? Nowhere. An executor is in the communist system because an exec is dead. Ex means dead.
Wow.
Yeah, so you don't want to use executor. So basically, if you have that, one of the original embossers that I did, throw that damn executor one away and go back to the tribunal or the tribunal seal that we had, that I initially had out there. And stay away from anything that involves X. Your ex-wife. Well, what the hell is she? She's dead to you. Your ex-roommate. He's no longer your roommate, so he's dead to you as being a roommate. So anything that begins with X, EX, is in the dead world. The President of the United States, he's operating as a dead fiction, as the executor of that office. It's a fiction that he's operating as.
Yes, exactly.
See how easy this starts breaking down when you start thinking about these things logically?
Right.
Expatriate. We're going and we're getting, so we're going to not be a patriot to the communist system any longer. We are now annexed to them, so we're dead to them as a party member. That's what expatriation's about. We're dying to them. But we're still living over here in the Republic as an American citizen. And you have the right to denounce that at any point in time. And if they do not accept your statement of expatriation, then you have the right to process a bill of privilege against them for violating that, and you send that into the Supreme Court or to the district court for the Republic. If the district court won't process it, then you go to the Supreme Court for the Republic. And in the Republic court system, a woman cannot be on the court. In the communist court system, yes, a woman can be a Communist Party member. Hell, Hillary Clinton's one of the biggest Communist Party members out there. She was brought up that way from the get-go. And she hasn't changed one bit. Now you can go and watch some of these movies like Resident Evil that's out here. All those different ones there. You can go through and start looking at how all these different movies that somebody is trying to control you. And in most cases, you think you're free, but you're not. You're under their control. You are a slave to their monetary system.
That's it.
Yeah.
What is the files that I need? Well, what are the files that I need to put in place before I do this equity?
Well, basically, you can do the equity right now, okay? You just come in as the drawer, as your fictional person, sign, put a signature on there. Underneath the drawer, I'll put a template up for these to Tom tomorrow, and then under the drawee, you sign and seal that one, and then you send this into the clerk of the court at the federal, or not the federal, but at the district court for the republic.
Okay.
Or to the republic clerk of the court, if you want to say it that way. United States District Court for Southern Iowa, Republic Clerk of Court. Now, see, in the Republic, okay, they may have a very pittance fee out here, but it's not going to be like a $300 filing fee. And if need be, you can turn around and do a bill in equity to pay that. Okay? You can do a bill in equity for any damn thing.
We put a new folder up there, Perpetuities.
Yeah, go ahead, Tom, go ahead and explain where the folders are,
right,
what the group site name is, spell it out, and then also where that other, your alternative site is, because I've been getting a call from several newbies out here trying to find the We the People site, and but go ahead and list the other one here, so I'll shut up for a while, and you go ahead and try and be real clear and explain it slowly so that these people can hear and then write it down. Okay. Go ahead, Tom.
The main site is a Yahoo group, and it's We the People, one word, _ shareholders. Now, if you want to join the Yahoo group, you need to go to Yahoo. Then on the menu, horizontal menu under the banner, pick groups. Then a box will come up, and you put in there We the People, and a few groups will come up that have We the People. Pick the one, We the People shareholders. And then that'll take you to the screen. You have to push the button that says Join. You'll be asked a little bit of information on how you want to receive your email. Now, before you do that, you have to get yourself an account at Yahoo. Do the free account first, and then go to yahoo.com, pick groups, search for the group name, get the group, join it, set your mail privileges. And then in the group itself, there is a file section. If you look on the menu on the left, it will say various different things, messages. You want files. And in the file section, there's a number of directories. The latest directory is called Perpetuity. and you can get, if you in the file section, there's an action box in the menu. Pull it down and pick date, and that will always keep the latest one first. So that's the easiest way of making sure you have the latest files. Go to the main file section, get the directories in reverse order by date, then pick perpetuities. That'll give you the files. And again, if you pick action, it'll give you the files posted up there in reverse date order. However, there are only 4 files there right now. 300 definitions, then the definitions of perpetuity, then the
Supreme Court filing.
Yeah, the Supreme Court. I want to get the exact name. Yes, SCOTR, Supreme Court of the Republic, Perpetuity Bill of Equity. And then,
well, that's the Bill of Equity, okay? But
yes,
there's that 7-page document that you need to submit in to claim, to expatriate, forgive yourself, exonerate yourself, and then you're going to forgive, you're going to pardon the Communist Party out here, and you're going to get on with your life, and you're going to claim your perpetuitaries. Okay?
Yes, that file is Perpetuity Bill of Peace in Equity.
Yeah.
So you want to send that one in first before you send in your perpetuity.
You can work on that one, okay?
Okay.
So you can do the bills in equity right now, okay? Because you're still the living.
Okay. And then when you join the Yahoo group, you will get a welcome email. In the welcome email, it tells you how to join the Skype group, where you can talk about this all day long, and where the backup to the site is. Now, the backup to the site, I can give you that now, is econcurrent.com/divine. And all the calls and the files and various dictionaries are kept on that site.
And it's a little easier to download from that site than off of
It's a lot easier to download from that site, yes. In fact, I think what I'll do is I'll keep current a zip file for each directory. So instead of having to download every file in the directory, you can download the zip.
The one thing about using the We the People website is that you can post a message on there, and hopefully maybe somebody out of the kindness of their heart will answer you back.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Otherwise, Tom's got also a Skype group that don't get carried away in bullshit sessions on the damn Skype group.
Yeah, we actually have 2 Skype groups. Where one where we only talk about the process, and then the other one is you can do off-topic stuff. So hopefully it's related somehow, but we don't want to be a social club. If you want to be a social club, go to Facebook.
Yeah. Now, if you want to be in the living world, you do perpetuitary bills of exchange, or bills in equity, okay, not bills of exchange, bills in equity, and you submit these into the federal, district court, the United States District Court for the Republic.
Right.
Okay? And otherwise, you can send it right into the Supreme Court. All your mortgages, everything. Traffic tickets, basically, if these ones will not accept your bills in equity at the local court level, then you can file also that bill of privilege against them and put that in with your package when you send it into the next higher court, either the district court or the Supreme Court. But you don't need all these others. You don't need to go and get a notary public or anything like that. How in the hell is a notary public, a state communist official, going to know who in the hell you are? They don't. They only recognize the dead.
Right.
They've got to have a dead piece of paper or something, a driver's license or whatever, to say who you are. You're the only one that knows that you're alive out here. They're all operating under the presumption or the implied system that you're dead.
So can we still seal it with a stamp and a fingerprint?
Yeah.
Okay. I never did get that embosser because we switched when we were ordering those.
Oh, I mean, I would go down to Staples or something like that and get a cheap one made up. Your tribe embosser. And in a case, you would put it down under your father's name, your family name, as your tribe name. And you might do it like, say in my case here, the tribe of Iowan Divines.
And you can also get an embosser online for about $30 from Rubber Stamp.
You can go down to Staples and get, or Staples or Office Max or Office Depot or one of these others, and basically have one pretty much made up.
Okay.
Pretty simple, okay? They can make those things up. Not that hard, okay?
Okay.
That way you've got it right away. If you've got a Staples or Office Max or one of those other office supply places, that's right there in your area. And normally they're again only about $20 to $30.
Right.
But it doesn't have to be anything fancy, okay? And then also on this bill of equity, okay, if you've got, now you're going to have to pay for your damn certificates of live birth. In some cases, they're pretty expensive. And I know, basically, they've done the people in for getting a naturalization document in the process. They've made those pretty damn expensive because they didn't want those transplants to have to get the understanding of this. And that's why you need to, in most cases, try and come in and claim this, your perpetuity accounts, perpetuitary accounts, whatever, in the process and get them removed from their jurisdiction. Then you won't have to have their damn communist pieces of paper, their forms. See, in the dead world, you always need to have a form to give substance to something that is dead. DD-214s are done for free. So if you've got a DD-214, you get that filed down at the courthouse that you're living in, and you take a copy of that, and you put this bill in equity on the back of it. And then send it in. So I'm going to have to redo a couple of my bills in equity. I've got my DD-214s, and that's what I'm going to use. And I'll send those in. Now, in 28 U.S.C. 1346, it talks about the district courts being allowed to do up to $10,000. But it does not make the stipulation of whether that is 10,000 Federal Reserve dollars or 10,000 perpetuitary silver dollars. So you make the interpretation. And you say that this, in this case, this is implied to mean silver dollars. So you establish the ground rules. You break their presumption that they're saying, well, we can only do 10,000 Federal Reserve dollars. No, you can break that presumption. Now, on a vehicle or something like that, they can basically go up to like a couple 100,000 or so Federal Reserve dollars. So basically, in that case, it might be there again still around 10,000 silver dollars. But see, you're the one that can make the determination. They're dead. How can they really make any damn determination? And they're always going to try and make it to their benefit in the process because they're a damn communist.
So what if we want to get out and we don't want to keep playing this game with them?
Then you go and you do the Supreme Court filing.
The bill rendered.
But you can do the account rendered, and you can do a bill in equity and get some cash in your back pocket for right now. And when you go for that item into the Supreme Court, that 7-page document, you don't need to have all the definitions on there. You can reference to the words, if nothing else. So you don't need to, like what I did, have all the definitions on there. When you look at that document. So you might be able to cut it down to maybe 3 or 4 pages by streamlining it down somewhat. Because I've got about 3 pages at least of definitions on there.
So don't those definitions on there identify to them that we know what we're talking about?
When you put those words and stuff in there and put some select definitions in there, yes, they will know what you're talking about now.
Right.
That's what I liked about all the definitions you included, Patrick. They can't miss it. They can't.
Now, they may be waiting for a hard copy wedding signature from me.
Okay.
I'll see what transpires tomorrow. If I don't hear anything, then I'll know that I need to submit the hard copy. But also, again, you need to understand that in the first volume of the Statutes at Large, and I posted this up before about filings into the Republic court system, that it can be chicken scratching when it's submitted. But I got a gut feeling that basically they will not take any faxes in the Republic because a fax is essentially a dead system.
Okay, it's automated chicken scratching.
Huh?
It's automated chicken scratching.
Yeah, but it's all dead. I mean, basically, you're not giving them a living signature. We're trying to imply that we are, but basically, they're not going to accept it.
Okay. So it would make sense to both fax it to notify them, but send in the hard copy right away.
Yeah. I tried to sort of skirt around that and say that I would give the endorsements and everything upon they're showing up with this transaction.
Can I go to my local court with this as well, Patrick?
Huh?
Can I go to my local court with this as well? My local.
You go to your local federal, your district court, United States District Court, and submit it in. But really, if you're going to want to get out of the system, you should be going to the Supreme Court.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
He has a couple cases in the local court, and I think you mentioned before that.
Well, the local court, if you've got a court case right now that has a charge out there, you turn around and do a bill in equity. And you order them, you give them this bill, and then they have to do the conversion of that to make the payment and give it to the clerk of the court. Listen to what I said earlier up in the call.
Right.
I got you, Patrick. I got you. I understand.
Okay. And see, everything else out here, all these tax and everything else that we're getting, they're all extortions. Okay? We owe no damn taxes. Because we're not really the Communist Party member. The dead fiction is the Communist Party member. But we have to get it on the record about the expatriation.
Hi, this is Marita.
In the process. Okay, any other questions? How many people did you get, Tom?
There were 8. Let me see. I think there might be a couple more now. 10 now.
Now, they just came on, so they must not have gotten the understanding of what time the call was, so they'll have to listen to the rest of it.
Right. I think 3 people came on within the last 20 minutes. So, yeah, and this is really a complete call. Thank you, Patrick. I mean, you really tied a whole lot of things together in this call.
Well, hopefully this will put a stop to half the other garbage that these other gurus are running around with out there, because it had to be simple. And basically this, when you understand this, and then you put this in, and so I wouldn't do any more faxes. If you want to submit something in, you do it as a hard copy, but you put it into the Republic side of the court. Okay? And if they do not comply with that, then you can turn around and do a bill of privilege against them and send it up to the next higher court.
Okay.
I got a quick question, Patrick.
Yeah.
Didn't we say once before that using the zip code puts us in the corporate realm?
Not necessarily. In front of that, okay, in front of the zip code, put Republic Post. And then the zip code. Okay?
Okay.
That's still, basically, yeah, they might have a dead number there, but basically it's also a living number. So it's a Republic Post number, too. It can be both for the living and for the dead, because both of you are living at the same address.
Mm.
You just didn't know you had a stinking dead body laying around there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. It's in my file cabinet.
Okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Pastor.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead and call tonight. Wrap it up and get it posted, Tom. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you, Patrick, very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye. Yep. Good night.
Good night.